You're watching The American on ESPN from picturesque Barr-McMillion Natatorium in Robson, Lindley Aquatics Center in Dallas on the campus of SMU. It's the American Athletic Conference Women's Swimming and Diving Championships on ESPN. And welcome in poolside, along with Smacker Miles, former University of Texas swimmer, and Natalie Kalibat, who won the Pac-12 championship in diving. I'm John Liddle. Great to have you with us as well. Smacker, we had a great first night of action. FIU sweeping things last night. How does that help them for the rest of the competition?
Such a huge start for them in those relays. They won 4 of 5 last year, and they won the 800 free relay and the 200 medley relay last night. So big start for them, not necessarily surprising, but still huge in the point scoring for this meet.
Now, last night we had great action on the 1 meter. Meanwhile, we moved to the 3 meter springboard today. What are you excited about, Natalie?
John, 3 meter is going to be just as good. FAU's Alicia Mora, she got 3rd in this event last year. She's seeded first heading into finals. And I talked to the Madrid, Spain native after prelims, and she said she just wants to relax and have fun. This is her last conference championship, so let it all out on the boards tonight.
Fantastic. That sounds like a great piece of advice for everybody competing. And here are the standings after night number 1. Florida International up top with 118 points. SMU just behind. North Texas kind of a surprise 3rd. And you look at Rice at the bottom in 7th with 34 points. They don't have a diving team, and they also were disqualified early in the first relay last night. We are ready to go already with the 500 free final. And we are underway at the bottom of your screen. In lane number 1, Sadie Covington of ECU. Elizabeth Myers of Rice in lane 2. In lane 3, it's Shannon Campbell of Rice. Ella Dyson of Rice. Yes, another Rice owl. Had the best time in the prelim. She's in lane 4. Lane 5 is another Rice owl. Amelia Kane, followed by Emily Hamlin in lane 6. Arlai Cortois Davies of FIU is in lane number 7, and up at the top on lane number 8 for this one is going to be Kurt for Sophie Kurt for FIU as the women's 500 free is underway. This is the consolation of the 500 freestyle. So the freestyle consolations here in the 500. Trying to see who comes up with points here as well, because Smacker, this does go toward the standings, of course, is you're trying to pile up as many standings as you can for your team.
After prelims, you can kind of seed it out going into finals as far as best and worst case scenario. Of course, in those scenarios, you're often scoring it as if a DQ isn't possible. So those are kind of the outliers on these events. But for example, Rice has 1 swimmer in the console final and 5 in the final of this event. So it's a huge point scoring event for them, even if they were to fall to the bottom of those heats. So you can kind of lock it in after prelims.
So in lane number 7, you're getting a look at Barr Erlingsdotter Isengard of FIU, who had a 4:59.17 in the prelims, and she is just out ahead. And it looks like at the bottom of your screen, lane number 2, Sydney Mullen of Tulane, second fastest right now in this particular consolation heat. In the 500 freestyle, what was your strategy in swimming this?
A lot of people do it as 150, 150, and then a 150, and then the final 50. So, you know, you have the 450 and the final 50. So that's one way to do it. I mean, you can do 200, 200, 100. It's just going to be broken up by distance and whether your strengths lie in the front or back half. But these ladies are repping out just under 30s, so that's where you want to be if you're going to break 5 minutes, of course. And right now, it's been a good heat in the middle of the pool, but like you said, lane 7 out there on everyone.
Barr, Erling's daughter, Idesgaard, as they make the turn for lap 15 on this stretch.
This is a really tough event, but getting to the 400 mark is a good feeling. You get to the final 75 and you feel like you're finally downhill.
But you can make it. And right now, everybody on a sub 5 minute pace. They start to come down the stretch. It still is Barr, Erling's daughter, Idesgaard for FIU out in front. And in lane 2, Sydney Mullen. Idesgaard makes that turn. And it does look as though maybe Sydney Mullen might be gaining on her just ever so slightly. About a 3/4 of a body length lead, perhaps. Sydney Mullen trying to charge hard. Idesgaard trying to hold her off. Here comes Mullen at the wall. It is a dead heat, and Idesgaard ends up with the win by about a 1/4 of a second over Sydney Mullen. A great race to the finish. And in third, Kaylee Turner in lane number 1 from the University of North Texas.
Here's another look, an incredible race on the bell lap. You hear that bell going off and kick it in for the final 50. An outstanding final 50 by Tulane, Sydney Mullen, and the Panthers get it done on that one. And the entire heat was way faster than this morning. So you're seeing the top 6 times under 4:58. And coming into this, it was only 1 time under 4:58. So they all improved on their final swims. And a lot of those times would have gotten into the top heat, which there's, an auto scoring on 8th being scored above number 9. So this is a learning moment for some of those people that really had outstanding finals, that they were able to match that in the prelims, that they could score their teams more points.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. Some personal bests were set in that consolation round. And now the top 8. The women's 500-yard freestyle final, which has a lot of Rice flavor in it. 5 Rice Owls are in the finals, Matt.
This finals is one that was on my map as far as being excited to watch it tonight. The Owls have the middle of the pool, lanes 4, 5, and 6. 3 to 5, excuse me. And then lane 6 is Emily Hamlin from ECU. She had a personal best time this morning, a top 3 time in ECU swimming history. So an outstanding and probably surprising to her and her team performance for her to come in seated 4th. And she's young, so sometimes you have that youthful inspiration. The best time in the prelim, and you just know she's feeling good going into finals. But like you see there on that graphic, it's very Rice heavy.
A couple of ECU Pirates and an FIU Panther as well. So Sadie Covington in lane number 1 at the bottom of her screen. Elizabeth Myers in lane 2. Shannon Campbell, lane 3. Ella Dyson had the top time, a career best 4:45.63 in the prelims. She was the 3rd seed coming into the prelims. And then Amelia Kane, her teammate right next to her from Belfast, Northern Ireland, from Rice as well. And you've got Emily Hamlin, as you mentioned, the sophomore in lane 6. Carlisle Cortois Davies in lane 7, and Ava Hamlet from Rice at the top of your screen in lane 8. This is an outstanding place for Rice to try to make a push, especially after the disappointment of getting DQ'd in the opening relay yesterday, Smacker.
Rice has an outstanding distance group, and you can see the middle of the pool and know that they're training together, that they have the top of the conference in practice every day. When they're doing pace sets, when they're doing gut-wrenching doubles, they have the best of the best to race against. And that challenge in practice goes a long way when it comes time to race at meets. A lot of times in swimming, the top of the world or the country kind of migrate towards each other to train together, to have that competition in practice, because that competition makes everyone better.
Rice head coach Seth Houston said he kind of looked at this season as kind of a reset. Yeah, they had some scoring swimmers back from last season, but they really looked at it as a chance to reset. And if you're going to reset and have 5 different swimmers in the 500 final, I think it's a pretty good reset or rebuild year, however he wants to put it.
It also tells you they're training hard at Rice, and that's one of those things that it's a brand, and it's something that you recruit to. You recruit people who want to do the work and come to college and train as hard swimming training gets, and that is what the 500 is. It's definitely one of the tougher events. It's one of the ones where I see the swimmers behind the blocks and just feel their nerves.
Well, Sadie Covington from ECU comes up with a really nice split on that 25, and she is in first as she touches the wall. And Covington out in front on that flip. Covington, the sophomore from Greensboro, North Carolina, North Guilford High School, was 7th in the prelims, 13th in the 500 freestyle last season, and would love to best some of these Rice Owls. Do some swimmers train to hold back a little bit in the 500 and then kick to the end in a final sprint? And, you know, is Covington doing too much here early as she takes a lead?
That is a question we're going to find out the answer to, Don. I don't think anyone trains to not back half it. You want to back half it, but some people are just straight up more effective in doing that. I wasn't an outstanding back half swimmer. I was a distance person that had to go for it a little bit in the beginning of the race. So, you know, you could say it was weight room. You could say it was, although I was, you know, the longevity of the sets doesn't necessarily indicate that. Some of it's just swimmer's preference. So Sadie is definitely going out for it. Sadie Covington in lane 1 for ECU. But we'll see how she holds on. She's giving herself the opportunity to be in the race when it matters. But
right now it's going to be Amelia Kane of Rice in lane number 5 that has overtaken the field here. She finished 6th in the 500 free last season in the AAC championships, and now she's just out in front. There's Coach Houston as he can do nothing but watch. It's those 2 middle lanes side by side, 4 and 5. Amelia Kane in lane 5, just ahead of Ella Dyson of Rice in lane number 4. And also you have lane number 3, excuse me.
Whoever can keep it under 29 will win this. So the consistency of the splits as this goes, 28-6. There should be a decent amount of back and forth between 28 and 29, but if anyone can hold it down there, they will have a great shot to be the ones at the top of the podium.
Approaching 4 minutes here, as it's going to still be Amelia Kane on this latest turn, followed by Ella Dyson and then Shannon Campbell as well. So Rice going 1, 2, 3 as of now, and 4 and 2 because Elizabeth Myers is in 4th, and Emily Hamlin is the highest scoring non-Rice swimmer right now. She is in 5th at that latest turn. Now into the final 50 yards. And it is still Amelia Kane of Rice. Kane swam well here at the SMU Invitational earlier this season with a 4:53.76. And she's showing off here in the final. It's Kane and Dyson coming down to the wire. Dyson in 4, Kane in 5th, the final stretch, and it is Amelia Kane holding off her Rice teammate Ella Dyson, followed by Shannon Campbell of Rice, then Emily Hamlin of ECU. Elizabeth Myers of Rice is in 5th. Great finish there between the 2 Rice Owls, and it is a sweep on the podium for Coach Houston.
What an impressive podium finish. 3 Rice Owls, 3 4:45 or better. the middle of the pool, just a complete showcase of toughness and consistency in distance swimming. Being under 29 was so important. It did come down to who could keep it together in that under 29 range. It ended up being the entire podium that was able to do it, which is incredibly impressive. It's tough in those situations where it's your teammate that you're looking next to, you're looking over your shoulder at your teammate, because as much as I would say they're not the ones you want to beat, in those moments you've practiced against them in practice, and you want it in the water, you want it against them as much as anyone. And then when you get to the podium, how fun to celebrate with your teammates.
I think what's incredible for Amelia Kane is she swam a career best 4:46.33 in the prelims, and that knocked 7.4 seconds off of her season best. And then here in the final, she goes 4:43.70.
And it's also 3 people significantly under the NC2A B cut. So the NC2A A cut is 4:37.89. That's always way out of what they actually take when the meet comes down to it. They take a certain number of people and then decide the cutoff. So those are opportunities to get into the championship meet and the highest level of college swimming. How impressive by Rice. And then they have 5th place as well. So they had a big point scoring event, and it will make a difference in the team standings through this event.
No doubt this was the chance for Rice to get back into things, and they do just that. And a really close fight to the finish. Ella Dyson, we looked at the split time. She was closing. She was 34/100ths better than Kane over that final stretch, but Kane had just enough in the end.
The distance swimmer in me was like, no, Dyson, you turned it on way too late. Kane went for it way earlier, and it takes a lot of conquering nerves to just go for it. And so she was definitely, Dyson was closing on her, but not quite enough to get it done. So I'm sure that's something they'll have a laugh about later, because you know that Kane felt Dyson coming.
Kane part of the first leg of the 800 freestyle relay last night. That Rice team picked up silver in that one. Dyson finished 3rd in this event in the AAC championships last year. This year, she finishes 2nd. And Kane, after finishing 6th last season, vaults all the way up to win gold this time around. And not to mention Shannon Campbell, who finished 4th last year. She finishes 3rd this season as well. But that has got to feel good for the Rice Owls in a race that they really had to have.
And they'll have Dyson and Kane back next year. So it's a bright future for Rice's distance crew as well.
Like you said, Campbell is a grad. And all smiles for the Rice Owls after that one. Coming up, we've got the 200 individual medley, which will come up after the podium celebration and the interviews as well. Everybody's feeling good in Rice land.
If you don't have fun on deck, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. But for the Rice Owls, Seth Houston in his 21st season. He's been the 4-time Conference USA Coach of the Year in the past. And now trying to take his team into the American.
Ladies, in the women's 500-yard freestyle, presenting our awards is Rice University. It's an 8th place finish for Ava Hamblick. 7th place for Harley Kurthois Davies. 6th place for Sadie Covington. 5th place for Elizabeth Myers. And 4th place for Emily Hamblin. And now your top 3 ladies in the women's 500-yard freestyle. The bronze medal for Rice University's Shannon Campbell. Silver medal for Rice University's Ella Dyson. And completing the Rice sweep, your 2024 champion with a finals time 4:43.70. NCAA beat cut time for your gold medalist, the junior from Rice, Amelia Kane.
And a good time to play the Rice fight song as well when you've got everybody on the podium from Houston. Congratulations to Amelia Kane, Ella Dyson, and Shannon Campbell as well. Your winners, your top three here in the 500 free, and we are well underway on day 2 of the American Athletic Conference Swimming and Diving Championships. By the way, last year's time in the 500 free to win it was by Houston's freshman, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, down on the deck, we've got Natalie Kalibat with our winner. Natalie.
Amelia, you win the 500 free and you sweep the podium with your teammates. How special is this win for you?
It's so special. You know, we train and put in the work every single day together. And so to do it with my teammates, you know, I know that we all have it in us. We just push each other every single day. And we did that exactly in that race.
What is your focus for the rest of conference championships?
Just, you know, getting as many points for my team, supporting my teammates, cheering them on, because we swim fast when we're having fun. And that's exactly what we were doing tonight. And we're just going to keep that momentum going through the rest of the days of the meet.
Congratulations and best of luck the rest of the few days.
Thank you so much. Go Owls!
I would definitely agree. The Owls were having more fun than just about anybody on deck before this one started, and that winning time is the 4th best 200 or 500 freestyle winning time in American history. Coming up, the 200 individual medley, consolation, and then the finals. Welcome back into the Women's Swimming and Diving Championships in the American at Robson and Lindley Aquatics Center here in Dallas. So we go from the 500 freestyle to the 200-yard IM. You see the rest of the schedule, and then we'll have the sprint of the 50 freestyle, some 3-meter diving for you as well tonight, and then the 200 freestyle relay. But Smacker, tell us a little bit about the 200 IM and what kind of strategy goes into this event.
I think I'm willing to commit to the 200 IM being my favorite event to not only race but also watch. It's the sprint of every stroke, back to back to back. You have to have a feel for the water to switch between strokes that quickly, and you have to be very sound technically, sharp turns in and out of the same hole, good walls. It is to me, it's like the overall swimming event. You have to be strong in each event, in each stroke, but you also have to be fast. And very athletic, off the blocks and in and out of the walls. So this is one that makes me miss Michael Phelps, but it's a great one, especially on an Olympic year.
Absolutely. The butterfly breaststroke, backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle. Here's the lane assignments. Diana Kolb will be in lane number 1, closest to the bottom of your screen. Rice's Lauren Brantley, Jimena Leguizamon with Carlotta Scarpitti, Heidi Ruining, Michaela Colts, Delaney Gall, and Gwen Shabazz of Tulane, the top of your screen, racing in lane number 8.
These student athletes know how many kicks they want to take off each wall, their unique back-to-breast turns, how far they want to get on their breaststroke pullouts. You know, they have, by the 15 meters of this race, different things that they want to do. So there's a lot to think about behind the blocks in the 200 IM. Which was kind of nice, because it was like more technical thinking and less time to just ice yourself behind the blocks.
They've had a few moments to wait. Now after our first event is over, the Rice Spirit Group getting into it and getting us set for the 200 IM today. So this group ended up with scores or times in the prelims basically between 2:02 and 2:05. The lowest was Carlotta Scarpitti of SMU, the sophomore, with a 2:01.97. She'll be in lane number 4, and the slowest time, at least for those in this heat, Gwen Shabazz, the freshman from Tulane, who will be in lane number 8. She had a 2:04.51. Where are the places in this competition that you can make up time? Does it just depend on which stroke you're most specialized in?
Yes, based on your race strategy, but breaststroke is very important, the third leg of the IM.
And we'll start out with Butterfly, and getting off to a great start. So important. The 2 lengths of the pool for each of the disciplines, for each of the strokes. Butterfly first, followed by backstroke, breaststroke, and then freestyle to close it out. And it's a pretty even heat off the bat. Down in lane number 1, Diana Kolb, looked as though she had one of the earliest times. Lauren Brantley, though, from Rice, actually touched the wall first in 26:10. Now they move into the backstroke. And some separation season, no doubt about it, for Leguizamon of SMU. Jimena touches the wall and turns as they move into the breaststroke now. And she has a full-length lead. Can she hold it?
If she holds this lead, she won the race on the backstroke walls.
Leguizamon with her teammate right next to her in Carlotta Scarpitti. Scarpitti making up some room on that last turn.
Breaststroke is make or break.
And Scarpitti is making. Now the final turn and into the freestyle. And you see that Scarpitti has turned it around. Scarpitti in first, Leguizamon in second. In third is Delaney Gall of FIU. As we go into the final 25. And a pretty nice half-length lead. Carlotta Scarpitti heading home for a consolation championship. And she is followed closely by Heidi Bruning of ECU. And in third place, Delaney Gall of FIU. Jimena Leguizamon in fourth. The time, 2 minutes and 55/100ths.
Scarpitti swam that IM like she was tapered. She swam it just the way you would want to swim it, the way you've envisioned it in all the IM sets all season. Strong flying back, and then she makes it on the breaststroke and brings it home on the freestyle. A lot of times whoever touches first at the end of the breaststroke is going to win it. A lot of people can do freestyle. It's the other 3 that tend to be a deal breaker for someone and that keep people from swimming the IM. So for Scarpitti, she was a textbook IMer, strong in the breaststroke, and able to do great breaststroke after doing a 50 sprint fly and a 50 sprint back. And that is part of it, being able to get your feel for the water on breaststroke when you're tired.
And that finish, which is good for 9th place overall in the 200 IM, was just about a second beyond the D1 B cut. So a really, really nice time for Scarpitti. As the challengers in the 200 IM final walk toward the starting point. We talked to FIU head coach Randy Horner coming into this one, and he said in the 200 and the 400 meter, or excuse me, 200 and 400 yard IMs, he felt like Nicole Frank, who ended up winning the prelim, was the favorite here, and we'll see if that's the case. As you see Lily Kramer of Rice at the bottom of your screen in lane number 1, Jenna Watson in lane 2, Ariel Hayon of Rice in lane 3, FIU's Nicole Frank Rodriguez in lane 4, Christy Chewy, who can certainly win this event as well. She won it last year in lane number 5. Naomi Filkin They also call Naomi Mimi in lane number 6, Emma Becker in lane 7, and Maxine Parkinson in lane 8. You know, last year's smacker, Nicole Frank, was disqualified in this event, DQ'd for a false start in this event last season. Now she's the favorite. What do you think's going through her head as a sophomore?
I remember that. It was a heartbreaker to watch. As a sophomore, she's back and ready for more, and she knows that happened her freshman year, and she's ready for that redemption. I'm sure that makes this event, takes it from nerves to just ready.
Three FIU swimmers, 3 Rice swimmers, 2 SMU swimmers in this final. They start with the butterfly. Lane 6, that's one of Mimi Filkin's specialties. Ariel Hayon of Rice, also really good in the butterfly. It looks like Hayon with a really good start here for Rice.
The problem with being a butterflyer in the IMs is that you do it when you're not tired. So other people can fake it better.
And she does win that portion. But did she tire anybody out? Followed by Chewy and followed by Frank for FIU. And into the backstroke now. The meet record is 156.34. Tanya Killianinen of Louisville back in 2014, almost 10 years ago to the day. And Nicole Frank takes the lead on that turn. She's now in first, 55-4, halfway home. Really good battle right in the middle of the pool there between Frank and Christy Chewy. And it looks like Chewy has taken the lead now on Frank, with Hayon right there as well. There's the battle, 3, 4, and 5. And Christy Chewy is out in front of her teammate Nicole Frank. Chewy is the event winner last year and had the best time in the American this season, a sub 158. Now she's trying to bring it home. And Chewy opening it up on her teammate. Chewy trying to go back to back, and she does it by a full length. Christy Chewy, a 157.21. What a time for Christy Chewy. In second place, it's Ariel Hayon of Rice, and finishing third, Nicole Frank, the Olympian from Uruguay.
Chewy won this in unique fashion. She won this in being a distance girl. And the 2 IMs a sprint. It's a sprint of every stroke. And she was able to stay with it through the breaststroke and then beat people, outlast people on the freestyle. And she was over 2 seconds faster than her prelim time, which tells you she was able to save up and still be in the middle of the pool at the conference championship. And what a confidence builder that is, to know that you have a lot left in the tank. And a 2-second ad, she probably felt pretty strong finishing this morning, knowing that she had a lot left to give. And sometimes those outside lanes are fun to be in because you know you have the top seed right next to you, but you know that you have more to give as well. So what a day for her. And she's a strong IMer. She's not a new name, and she executed that race beautifully.
It's the second best winning time in American Athletic Conference history, and you see Chewy really consoling Nicole Frank after that one and congratulating her as well for a race well run. Great time for Christy Chewy. Like I said, the second best time ever in the American Conference Championships.
57.2 to 58.5 is a big win. So she had an outstanding performance. She was strong in the fly, light on her legs in the backstroke. She was smooth, long and strong in the breaststroke. You could tell she wasn't falling off, and she hit that wall at the end of the breaststroke knowing it was hers.
She becomes the second American swimmer to go back-to-back in the 200 IM. Iona Sacha of Houston went back-to-back in 2020 and 2021. And Christy Chewy takes 1.2 seconds off her winning time from last season here in Dallas. A dominant performance.
Great swim for Ariel Hannion, too. She had a great time and much improved this season.
She's been an NCAA qualifier in the 100 and 200 fly last season. And so Hayon coming in with a 158.55 in second place. And Nicole Frank, in the end, passed over for third, but ran a good race. And in fact, her time was right about where she was in the prelims, not too far off of it, just a couple 100s off. But it wasn't enough, as evidently Christy Chewy, as you mentioned, was able to hold back a little bit in the prelim. And this is already the third gold for Christy Chewy. She was a part of the 2 relays last night, and now she looks fresh as a daisy in the 2 races here today, including the final. How do you know as a swimmer whether you can hold back just a little bit in the prelims in order to have your best for the final?
I'm sure her coach told her, we want you in the middle of the pool, and that's the expectation. Do with that what you will. And trusting a senior in that sense is easier to do, as far as them knowing how fast they're going without actually seeing a clock in the prelim. And Christy Chewy's strong, so she didn't need to go all out in the prelim to give 80%. She was probably going to be a very confident in. And part of the challenge of the 200 IM is you want to dive in and sprint, and that's what you're going to do, but you don't want to dive in and spin. And Christy Chewy did an outstanding job of establishing each stroke and establishing the tempo that she wants to swim each stroke with. So those first 15 meters of each different leg, the first 15 meters of the fly, and then the back, and then the breast, and the free, is really about establishing. It's like running a 40. You're going to have your technique as to how you get up and out of the blocks on that. It's like that at the start of every single different stroke in the 200 IM, and she did a great job. She looked like a total veteran. She looked like a senior in the way that she didn't spin on each stroke.
Got to make the head coach of the FIU Panthers proud. Randy Horner in his 15th season had 8 consecutive Conference USA titles from 2015 to 2022. Finished second to Houston here last year in his first year in the American. And Florida International out to a lead after the first 5 events here in Dallas as well. Wanted to ask you this. We think of Rice as a really good distance team. We think of SMU as a great sprinting team. FIU, what have they shown? What are they good at? Is it mid-distances? Is it just a little bit of everything?
I think they've done a good job recruiting to the number 1 person per event. And of course, you're going to prioritize relays in the beginning of that. And then beyond that, Christy Chewy and Nicole Frank Rodriguez have outstanding breaststroke technique. Both of them were right next to each other. They both looked comfortable with their tempo. They both had sound technical strokes. Their timing was perfect. Their head position was very still. They almost looked to have a similar stroke. Glides were long and strong. So that's one of those things where when you see similar strokes in the middle of the pool, you know it's coaching.
Fourth place for Naomi Filkin. And now your top 3 ladies in the 200-yard individual medley. It's a bronze medal finish for the sophomore from Florida International, Nicole Frank Rodriguez. The silver medal for the junior from Rice University, Ariel Hayon. And your 2024 champion with an NCAA beat cut time of 1:57.21. Back-to-back golds now for the senior from Florida International, Christy Chewy.
Christy Chewy wins yet again. Chewy with a dominant performance in the 200 IM. Nicole Frank Rodriguez in 3rd place and Ariel Hayon in 2nd place from Rice.
Your top 3 ladies in the women's 200-yard individual medley. Back-to-back champion, the senior from Florida International, Christy Chewy.
Christy Chewy has put together some dominant performances each of the last few years. And as a team, this is the 12th gold in the last 2 seasons combined already for FIU. They led the event with 8 golds last season, despite Houston having just a little bit more depth and overtaking them. Yet another win, and Chewy consoling Frank, and what a heartwarming moment there.
Oh,
Senior leaning into sophomore.
I don't think she's happy with her time, though. I think she's a little bit upset with how the race went. And that happens. Sometimes you have a certain time in your mind, and anything above that is going to hurt, and it does.
But Nicole Frank will have an opportunity in the 400 IM, where she is an absolute favorite there as well. Plus, as a Uruguayan, she has an excellent chance of being an Olympian again, too. So let's send it down to Natalie Kalibat, standing by with our winner.
Christy, you're the defending champion in this event, and your time of a 1:57.21 is a new program record. Can you explain the emotions behind this win?
I'm not gonna lie, before this race I was really extremely nervous, and even coming into the pool I was so nervous. I talked to my mom, I talked to my teammates, my coach. One of my teammates actually gave me a pep talk before the race that actually calmed me down. And I know that going in, like, I entered with a clear mind. I didn't want to think about anything, just get the job done, and I did it. And I'm also proud of my team and my teammate Nicole. We did the job, we got the points for our team, that's all that matters.
What was that pep talk that really clicked for you?
I literally went up to her, I was like, I need a pep talk right now. She said, like, you know, with all the pain you've been through, the morning sessions, the practices, like, this is nothing. Like, this morning was a controlled swim, and now it's just you gotta let it all out and just go. Like, don't hold it anymore.
What was that emotion, that moment with you and Nicole on the third place podium?
Well, Nicole actually, she did a really good time last year, but she got DQ'd in the false start, and she was also nervous coming into this race. She's not satisfied with her time, because I know she can go at 1:57 as well, but I told her that it's fine. I know she can be upset with herself, but the thing is that she won the race, she got the points for the team, that's all that matters. She put in the effort, she did her best, that's all that matters right now. She's only a sophomore, she got 2 more years to go, so I told her that you got 2 more years, I want to watch you win it. You got 2 years to work for it. So that's what I told her.
Christy, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
What a heartwarming moment, and I really think that is what it is all about. Teammates lifting up teammates. Somebody lifted up Christy Chewy, and now she's lifting up Nicole Frank as we go into the consolation final for the women's 50 freestyle. Umi Diop for FIU in lane 1, Caroline Sullivan for SMU in lane 2, Izzy Jones in lane 3. Indra Vandenbush from SMU had the best time. Valentina Becerra Quintanilla in lane 5 had the second best time for those in this heat. Carly Clements from ECU in lane 6, Dolores Margini, and then Noelle Marsh from UNT in lane number 8. This one goes fast. Take a deep breath. Let's see who comes out on top. Vandenbush's time in lane number 4 was 23:16, and that was just 4/100ths of a second from qualifying for the final. It's all about the start here, the athleticism right off the platform, and what can they do on the turn? Just out in front is Becerra for SMU with Vandenbush just behind, but it's going to come right down to the wire, and at the wall, Becerra takes it for SMU, followed by Izzy Jones for FAU in lane number 3, and Indra Vandenbush for SMU in 3rd in this consolation. A big smile for Becerra. Valentina Becerra winning in a time of 23:03, slightly under her preliminary time.
It is slight in time, but a 2/10 improvement is huge in the 50. So that just means that she hit her turn better than this morning, likely, and then she just felt it from the flags in, keeps her head down, and times up the wall really well.
So Becerra, who's been two-time all-conference in the 100 fly, wins the consolation 50 free. And now we go to the finals in the 50 free. And you're going to see a lot of SMU flavor in this one, as well as some FIU Panthers, a Rice Owl, and a University of North Texas mean green swimmer as well. So let's meet the competitors for this final. The bottom of your screen, Isabella Bedoya, or rather Tiffany Ruin, I should say, in lane number 1. In lane number 2, Jessica Spilko of FIU. Johanna Gumansdottir in lane number 3 for SMU. Imogen Mears, who won this preliminary in lane number 4. Shayna McLeod was kind of a surprise second place in lane number 5. Deanna Santamaria, a freshman from FIU, in lane 6. Lucrecia Napolitano in lane 7, and another SMU Mustang make it 4 in this heat in Isabella Bedoya. SMU has won the event. This one over the last 2 years. Lucrecia Napolitano won it in 2023, and Johanna Gumansdottir won it in 2022. And so we've got 2 past winners in this one. Imogen Mears, who is an incredible swimmer for Rice, who had an outstanding time of 22:42 in the prelims. And we'll know in about 25 seconds who takes the medals here. And off the start, we'll see who is able to turn well, but it is a dead heat so far. And Imogen Mears of Rice touches first, with Deanna Santamaria of FIU just behind her. Coming down the stretch in this sprint, reaching for the wall, and it is Imogen Mears, who wins in a time of 22:23. Johanna Gumansdottir, a former winner, in second, and Deanna Santamaria from FIU, the freshman from Spain, finishing in third. Imogen Mears takes gold, the senior from Bromley, England.
Here's another look at Mears going into the turn. She comes off the wall well, times her re-entry very well. She's a straight arm swimmer. Her kick is unbelievable, so strong behind her. And as close as the heat looks, about 3 strokes in, it was like, wow, that is a special stroke. She's got it. And, you know, barring messing up her turn, it was like this show is in the middle of the pool. And 0.2 in the 50 is huge. It was 0.24. So what a performance by Imogen Mears. And then Johanna Gumansdottir was still strong in 22.4. And then lane 5, not in the middle of the pool anymore. Third went to Deanna Santamaria, 22.5. So the times do tend to be pretty predictable because no one can really take it easy on the 50 in the morning. You're going to see the sprinter sprint because the margin for error is not very good. So in the middle of the pool, he got a little bit faster, but switched it up.
How about this? Lucrecia Napolitano's winning time last year was 22.7. Imogen Mears beats that by a lot, by almost half a second. That's incredible. And so Imogen Mears was just in a different class, as you say, and she's just off the meet record by 4/100ths of a second. That was Jacqueline Keir of Cincinnati back in 2017.
John, in men's swimming, there's only one way to swim the 50, and it's with a straight arm stroke. In women's, it's not as feasible to swim the 50 with a complete straight arm. A lot of people will go to a straight arm stroke on the last, the second 25 or flags in. When she came out with it, it was like, oh, she's got it. That's talent in the middle.
You saw it right away. And Imogen Mears, the senior, wins it. She qualified for the 2020 British Olympic Trials. She'll try to do it again here in 2024. But between now and then, she wins a very important gold for her team. And don't look now, but Rice is starting to creep up on FIU. This is exactly what Rice needed, as they were able to sweep the 500 free and now pick up gold in the 50 free. Imogen Mears getting it done, and in special fashion, as you mentioned. Rice getting back into the competition. SMU also picking up some points on that one as well, and tightening things up with Florida International and making it a little bit tougher on the leader in Florida International. We will give you the full standings in just a few moments, right after we take a look at what's going down on the podium. But when you swim like that and you do it in dominant fashion, what is your feeling after a win like that if you're Imogen Mears? You've just got to be walking incredibly tall, especially going into a sprint relay tonight.
She was so dominant that you could say that, oh, she could have known she was going to be up there going in. But in the 50, the margin for error is so small that I'm sure it's a huge feeling of relief for her. You know, that your off the blocks went smooth, your entry was good, your wall was good, you know, you stayed with your kick, your timing of the finish was good. So I'm sure for her, it's something she knew she could do, but putting it all together when it matters is so important. I mean, that's what you think about all year. So I'm sure she's relieved to know that it went like she drew it up.
Couple swimmers under the NCAA B cut. Gumansdottir and Mears were under the NCAA B cut in that particular swim, and so it's not like she wasn't going against some good competition right next to her. It was NCAA qualifying type competition, but she still blew her competitor out of the water.
When we talked to Coach Houston, he said that his team was peaking at the right time, and that has absolutely proven to be true. And he talked about not really resting for their midseason meet, and I asked him about that paying off and his excitement to see that in action this weekend, and he seemed confident, and so far, he is right on.
Well, they've just had a lot of spirit. He's talked about how much spirit they've had, FIU, another team with spirit, and right now they're leading the standings. Let's go ahead and take a look. The American Athletic Conference Swimming and Diving Championship standings. Florida International, 230.5 points. SMU right behind at 218. Rice at 185, followed by East Carolina, North Texas, Tulane, and then Florida Atlantic as we go into our next diving event. But before that, let's send it to our public address announcer for the rest of the results from the 50 free.
In fifth place, it was Shayna McLeod. Fourth place for Lucrezia Napolitano. And now your top three ladies in the women's 50-yard freestyle. Bronze medal finish for Florida International's Diana Santamaria. Silver medal for SMU's Johanna Gudmundsdottir. And your 2024 champion with a finals time 22:23. Gold for the senior from Rice, Imogen Mears.
There they are. Gold, silver, and bronze in the 50 free. I would love to get in the head of Diana Santamaria as well. And she's an outstanding sprinter from Spain. And to be on this podium against this kind of talent, it's got to feel good for the freshman.
What an exciting start to her individual lineup on this meet. And she can enjoy this moment, but not for too long, as these three ladies are probably going to be anchoring their 200 free relays coming up. So it's a rinse and repeat. They've built a lot of confidence from their individual event, but the team one matters even more.
And let's go down to Natalie with our winner, Imogen Mears.
Imogen, you win the splash and dash in such impressive fashion. What was your philosophy to that race?
I think it's hard to have a complicated philosophy for the 50 free. Sort of just thought I had to get my head down, and especially into the finish, like not lose my form and really go for the wall. Yeah.
another win for the Rice Owls. You're a senior. What are the emotions like for this conference championship?
There's definitely still nerves, even after 4 years, but mostly just the excitement. Like, I love training and racing with our team, and conference is the best way to see it all come together and be so proud of everyone and what they achieved.
Congratulations and best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Imogen Mears winning gold in dominant fashion in the 50 free. And we're about to head into 3-meter diving. And before we do, we want to take you to Natalie Kalibat, who had a chance to sit down with the head diving judge for this event, Emily Richmond.
We are now joined by head judge Emily Richmond. And Emily, for the first time, we have official neutral judges here at the conference championships. How has that been such a tremendous asset?
Yeah, I think that having neutral judges is a really great asset for the coaches and for the athletes, because in previous years, the coaches have had to play double duty. They've had to coach, they have to judge, and that's a lot going on. It can be difficult for the athletes to not have their coaches' full attention. And it also ensures that the judging is completely unbiased and that there aren't people affiliated with the schools judging. So I think it's great that the conference has made that choice this year, and hopefully the athletes and the coaches do as well.
Absolutely. From takeoff to the entry, what do you look for in each dive?
Yeah, so as a judge, you're looking at 5 different elements of the dive. You actually start with their starting position when they're standing on the board, their approach as they're walking down the board or as they're swinging, their takeoff, the flight, and then their entry. So the entry, which gets a lot of attention from folks because it's the last thing you see, is really just one of 5 things that we're looking at when we're judging a dive.
What causes a judge to deduct points from a dive?
So there's a number of different things that can be deducted for in a dive. And typically you will deduct between a range of 0.5 point to 2 points. And these are things like the body position not being correct. So in a pike, maybe the knees are bent. It's also about the parabola of the takeoff. So when the diver leaves the board, are they making more of a rainbow shape or an arch shape? Those are things that help with the distance and the amplitude, and all of those things are taken into account when you're judging.
And just like the divers practice their dives, I know the judges practice judging.
Yes.
How do you guys do that?
Yeah, so as a judge, it's really important to have a strong reference bank in your mind of what a good dive looks like and the different ways that dives can be done so that you can call on that when you're comparing dives in a contest. So for judging, it's a lot of watching video, watching a wide variety of diving, and then also refreshing on individual rules, things like that, so that in the moment you can put that number in within a second of the dive finishing and be consistent throughout the competition.
The team event has recently been added to conferences, to NCAAs. How do you judge that event?
So as a judge, you're really going to just look at the individual dives that are happening at any given time. So in the team event, there are multiple athletes on the team, and different athletes will do dives from different levels, and different people will go. So it requires a little bit more cognitive energy. You have to really pay attention to what you're looking at, but you also don't want to be influenced by other things. So you just have to judge the dive that you see, and then at the end, the scores will be accumulated and added together to create the team total.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Emily.
Yeah, thank you.
And we are in the first round of dives. Just a great chat there with Emily and John Liddle here, joined by our diving expert, Natalie Kalibat, and getting a chance to see Jacqueline Fowler, who comes up with a 45.15 here in the opening round. So far, we did miss Nicole Stambo of SMU take the lead with 54. And here's the winner from last night. She was outstanding, Paige Burrell in the 1 meter.
Consistent diver. So this 3 meter event will be just as competitive as the 1 meter. Beautiful lines and entries. You know, John, it was so fun to sit down with Emily, to go down, go over, and she broke down what the judges are looking for in the elements of these divers.
Frida Zuniga Guzman up next. She was 5th in the 1 meter yesterday. And Mexican national, the sophomore, finished 4th in the 3 meter here last year. She qualified 2nd, so she's looking to be on the podium this time.
stranger to diving under the lights in finals. She finaled in all events last year. She's an extremely consistent diver, gets so much power in her takeoffs, and her entries are to follow. So, and here's our champion entering the finals.
Yeah, a 3:32.75 in the prelims for Alicia Mora of Florida Atlantic.
Alicia has that rip entry, clean bottoms. I talked to her after the prelims, and she said she just wants to relax and have fun. She's a graduate senior, so she said, why stress? It's my last one.
So after the first turn, it's Zuniga Guzman, Mora, and Stambo in that order. And we go back to the top and get a chance to see Ruska Leitonen, the sophomore from Finland.
Ruska just kicks a little early out of that inward 2.5, causing her legs to go short on the dive. And John, I will say that these divers, they do 6 dives. We might see some fluctuation on that leaderboard throughout this competition. It is all about consistency. Who can consistently hit their dives?
I'd imagine so. That's what we saw last night. I think Paige Burrell had an incredibly consistent night. Here's Sydney Guidara, a freshman.
Beautiful dive, high degree of difficulty dive, a 3.1, forward 3.5 somersault in the pike position. We'll see a few of those today. She's super happy with the scores.
How about a 58.9 for Sydney Guidara, and the freshman, the only freshman in the finals, getting it done.
I'd take that.
Oh, absolutely. Here's Katie Lipsey, senior from Tulane. She was 12th in the 1 meter yesterday.
See a ton of these in the competition tonight. A back 1/2 layout in the straight position, a beautiful dive. You're not going to see a ton of these in the competition tonight. A back 1/2 layout in the straight position, a beautiful dive. Katie has long lines and they look so nice in the layout position. A lower degree of difficulty dive. She does it very clean, goes vertical in the water. Exactly what the judges are looking for.
Nicole Stambo at 50.4 in the opening round. She finished 4th in the 1 meter yesterday.
Nicole, another diver with incredible DD, especially on the 3 meter springboard. She's such a solid diver on 3 meters. She actually has the highest degree of difficulty of this event, a 1790 entered in the meet.
See if she's able to execute. She's in front right now. And her teammate, Jacqueline Fowler.
Gorgeous dive from Jacqueline. She had a great prelims. Take a look at this takeoff. Gets the dive done above the springboard with plenty of time to square out and line it up on the entry.
And back to Paige Burrell. Last night's winner. Burrell with a 49.20 on her first dive.
Dive. I mentioned this high degree of difficulty a lot. Paige being one of the divers who has a very high DD dive list. And it can get a little complicated, but the basics, the more flips you do, the higher DD it is.
And Paige Burrell moves in front with that dive. And a 54 for Frida Zuniga Guzman on her opening dive. And she'll try to follow it up with something similar.
impressed with Frida's composure. How calm and focused she is in the finals. Patient on the springboard, gets her arms all the way through, completes the dive above the diving board.
And an enormous number as well, a 67.5 for Frida. She moves into first place. And Alicia Mora tried to dive above her.
Same dive that Frida just did. We saw it back to back. Different styles, both beautiful dives.
A 64.5 for Mora.
Alicia rides the springboard. She has a beautiful pike, gets into the tight twist, and finds the entry.
And so Zuniga Guzman is on top, followed by Mora, and then Burrell after the second dive. Now back to the top, and Ruska Leitonen.
It's so hard to place in the top 8 finals. All these divers did such a good job in prelims. You saw Ruska just did a solid back 2.5. The back and the reverse category are so pivotal on 3-meter. Whoever can hit those is likely to do as well as possible.
Guadara, the youngest in this competition out of Reno, Nevada, currently plays 5th.
She's out of Reno. She actually dove at the same club team as Krista Palmer, the Olympian. She has high goals. Her coach says, Stephanie O'Callaghan, that she's such a joy to coach every day because she's so passionate.
Guadara, solid 57. And now here's Katie Lipsy, who is trying to walk up the ladder here, placed in 7th right now.
A lower degree of difficulty dive, a voluntary dive, a reverse dive layout. In prelims, she nailed this dive for 7.5, so it was beautiful. Just washes by on the entry past vertical.
So tough break there as Nicole Stambo with her 3rd dive, currently in 4th. That's where she finished in 1 meter. But Stambo, a 3-time defending champ in the 1 meter. She was denied a 4-peat, and that always hurts. So, of course, she'd love to see a little bit better of a result here in the 3-meter.
John, it's crazy. We talk about 4-peats. These athletes are amazing.
I know.
Just to win once is so amazing. So, yeah, Nicole is an absolute stud on the diving boards. Darian Schmidt, her coach, saying she's just such a good leader, too. She comes in and she's focused with high goals. So she's just so much fun to watch. And not to mention, she's pre-med and has been accepted in medical school. Not bad.
Not at all.
Absolutely nails those forward 3.5 pike. Her entries are so clean. See the power on her takeoff. Rides the springboard, gets her arms all the way through. Solid dive for Nicole. So much degree of difficulty.
60.45 puts her in 1st right now as her teammate, Jacqueline Fowler, whose mom dove at Arizona State, steps up.
What's so impressive about Fowler, she didn't compete last year. And she comes into this conference championship and she has just dove beautifully. In prelims, she put forth a fantastic show to get into this top 8 final.
Paige Burrell, our 6th diver here, currently in 3rd. It's right around a 60 to move into 1st place.
Page, a former gymnast, a trampoline champion. She gets so much height and power off of the springboard. She leaves this one a little bit short, which I know she's disappointed because I've seen her nail it. Great takeoff. Just comes out a little bit early, leaving those legs a little bit short. Judges are going to deduct from that.
And they do, so she moves into fourth with 2 divers to go this round. Frida Zuniga Guzman is out in front.
The same dive that Paige just did. I love Frida's setup on the board, focused. Focuses on her hurdle, getting into that tight little pike, and then just the muscle memory kicks in. She knows where this dive is. Just rinse and repeat.
A 55.8 moves her into first place, with Alicia Mora the last to go in round number 3.
Little back on the diving board. I know that dive will hurt. Little bit back. Doesn't get quite to the end of the board. Still gets beautiful height. Ducks her head down and washes by the bottom.
There are your standings. Zuniga Guzman from ECU out in front by 14 points on Stambo, followed by Gadara. How about that? The UNT freshman, and then Mora in fourth. Back to Leitonen. Right now is in last place.
Yeah, you see she just tapped her hands on the diving board. As a former diver, we've all done it. On springboard, on platform, just on the out, just goes right up the middle and taps those fingers. It hurts, but it sounds worse than it is. It looks like she's all good.
Well, she's going to be okay. As Sydney Gandara, how impressive has she been at this point? The freshman who qualified 7th, right now standing in 3rd halfway through.
Yeah, I know I mentioned that she came from the same club team as Krista Palmer. The coach saying she's just obsessed with getting better. So solid. Coach says she's got high goals. Here she is in the top 8 finals, just drilling her dives. Stays on the takeoff, tight pike, finds the entry, no problem. I'm getting some Krista Palmer vibes from her, I gotta say. The Olympian's rubbing off.
A 52.5 on that dive. Not quite the 57 she had last time out, but still very, very solid. Here's Katie Lipsy.
On the come out, she kind of lifted her chest up and bent her legs. See another look, just picks her chest up, and you see the leg bend on the bottom, leaves the dive just short of vertical.
So now to the SMU duo, Stambo, right now in 2nd, halfway home. She had a huge dive in the 3rd round.
Huge dive and another huge dive. She's on her game. And I asked her coach if diving at home, you know, seeing the visuals that she sees on this back 2.5 pike on that come out, if it was comforting. He said he's happy to host. It is comforting. But you can't get too comfortable. Got to get ready.
Hosted, 5 straight years now. So
yes.
Stambo used to diving at home in championships. Now Jacqueline Fowler.
two, Fowler, Stambo, diving back-to-back. I know that's due to placement in prelims, but just, you know, it almost feels like a practice. You're diving right next to your teammate.
So Stambo stays in front. Fowler moves into third right now. If we were to end the round at this point, of course we're not. Paige Burrell has a ways to go, but she has a way of creeping back into things, just like she did last night in the 1 meter. She kind of came from behind at the end.
Can have that effect on you, right? Like you just said, she can come from behind, she can creep up, or she can stay dominant. Solid dive for Burrell. Does a great job on the takeoff. I mentioned that height, that power that she has, and how beautifully she unfolds from her dives as well, just to control the entries.
Here's our leader.
Doing the same dive that Paige just did, so the judges can compare and contrast the two dives.
A 60.
Frida does an entire list in pike on 3 meter. So much DD. She just executes the dive so well. Her muscle memory is so trained. She knows how to do these dives in her sleep.
Gives her a more than 21-point lead on Nicole Stambo, who right now is in second, and now Alicia Mora.
Alicia is such an impressive young woman. She's from Madrid, Spain. She's qualified for the Olympic trials there, so maybe a potential Olympian. Just leaves it a little bit short. The name of the game is the consistency. Who can hit those dives? Get them vertical. Just get these dives vertical. Straight up and down.
2 dives to go. Zuniga Guzman still out in front by 21 points. Here's Ruska Letonen.
Good control on the twist. Nice takeoff. Doesn't twist on the board, but finds that square out on the bottom.
There is Sydney Gadara right now. She'd be on the podium with that bronze. 209 total through 4. What does she have for her 5th dive?
John, a freshman. She's only a freshman, and she's diving like an upperclassman. It's amazing to see Sydney just on her absolute game. Gets the most out of the springboard, finishes the dive above the 3 meter, finds the bottom. She's going to be very happy with that one.
Yeah, it's a 53-2 for Sydney Gadara. Meanwhile, Katie Lipsey.
Double twister. Katie does a nice job making this dive look really easy. Just does her twist so quickly. Has a clean entry on the bottom.
46 1/4 on this dive. So back to Nicole Stambo, who qualified in 5th, but right now is in 2nd. Fairly distantly behind Frida Zuniga Guzman, but she's got 2 dives to try to make her sweat. Dive for Stambo, 3.0 DD.
Beautiful takeoff. And she had the finish. She just lost her feet on the entry ever so slightly.
40 1/2.
Look at this start. Picture perfect, folds into the pike. Beautiful come out, just loses the feet on the entry. And the judges are going to pick at that.
And she falls behind Gadara. Now here's Jacqueline Fowler.
Fowler does her backs and gainers like it's her job. She just folds out of these dives, no problem. She's petite, but gets a ton out of the springboard. Love her kick out. She just locks it out.
50.4 on that fifth dive. Now here's the fifth dive for Paige Burrell.
Takeoff, and the rest takes care of itself. Paige with a solid hurdle. That's the approach. Gets to the end of the springboard. Wastes no time getting right into that pike. And just finds her way out.
51 for Paige Burrell, but she's still in fourth. Now, here's our leader, Frida Zuniga Guzman, who has not flinched in these finals.
No, she has not. Cool, calm, and collect.
Fourth in the 3-meter last year here in Dallas. She's going to finish higher than that today, it appears.
It appears so, John. She is on the money. Her coach, Ryan McIntyre, saying that she's a next-level kid. She's finaled at Pan Ams. She's won Junior Pan Ams. 3-meter is an excellent board for her. Look at this takeoff and the jump. Just beautiful. Come out, gets vertical with the water.
Another 60-plus score, 63. She has a big lead. Here's Alicia Mora.
Nice back 2.5. Just lets the feet go a little past, straight up and down. She does a good job on the takeoff, staying on the start, getting right into that tight little tuck. Mora's doing a good job of keeping things together here.
And going into the final round, you see Frida Zuniga Guzman with a huge lead. The freshman Gadara in second place, trying to hold off a fifth-year senior in Stambo, and Fowler right there as well, a veteran. But we start with Ruska Leitonen, her final dive.
Ruska, very long. I love her lines, especially when she stretches for her lineups, and you can really see her lines when she's on the twisters. Does a nice job squaring out of that dive.
45.6 to finish with 232.20. And now here's Gadara. Maybe the surprise, had a zone cut score in her first ever collegiate meet on the 1 meter. Now here in the 3 meter, trying to hold on to silver.
Solid finish. A lot of divers will put their best dive last because they want to finish on a strong note. Chest over toes, tight twist, clean entry.
It's a 46.2 for a total of 308.75. Is it going to be enough to hold off the SMU duo? We will see as we go to Katie Lipsey from Tulane for her final dive. Every dive is big for points, even if you're not going to win this final.
Oh yes, all of these divers are contributing immensely to the overall team standings and the points. That's why you see all the support around the pool from the entire swim teams, because these points matter so much.
Here's Stambo looking to get on the medal stand.
Just washes by on the entry. So much power. I mean, even to say that, a full out on 3 meter. She actually over rotates on that dive. It's incredible how much strength that she has. But you see, she just buries her head, washes past vertical.
And right now she finishes with 299.85, a respectable score. Here's Jacqueline Fowler.
Doing the same dive. Teammates back to back. Fowler does a good job of sneaking that one in, pike saving to stop the dive. Gets a good jump. I love how she folds into that tight pike, then gets into the twist, wastes no time, squares it out.
It's a 52.5 to put Fowler past her teammate Stambo by almost 6 points. Now Paige Burrell needs a really big dive here to move on to the medal stand, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. Let's see.
I love how she executes this dive. She does such a good job. It's still the forward 2.5 with 1 twist pike. She just does it the other way around. She starts with the twist, then gets into the pike. Beautifully done.
54 on that one. She is not able to get past Fowler or Guidara. And here is Zuniga Guzman with a dive of 49. She could set the meet record on the 3 meters.
Really nice dive. Does a good job of finishing strong on this 3 meter event. She really didn't miss any dive, just hit everything super consistently. Strong finish for Frida.
52.5 for a total of 352.80. She's going to be your champion, and she also sets a 3 meter meet record here at the AAC Championships. We have seen history from the sophomore from ECU. Alicia Mora to close it out.
Beautiful dive. I love it. She puts this dive away, finishes strong. Really nice finish for Alicia. Beautiful inward 2.5 in the tuck position from start to finish.
56.7. She finishes in 6th, but all hugs for Frida Zuniga Guzman as a freshman. She finished 4th, and as a sophomore, she sets a meet record on the 3 meters. Oh my goodness, what a performance by Frida, a 352.80. She is your 3 meter champion.
From Frida. This is years of hard work and training. She's so successful internationally for her country of Mexico. She finished in the top 8 last year, and here she gets the win, the new meet record. Just an incredible moment that all her teammates want to share with her. Hugs from every swimmer on the team.
Last year, she set a freshman record for ECU in both the 3 meter and the platform dives. This year, doing even better. A gold medal winner at the Junior Pan Am Games in the 3 meter in 2021. She loves the 3 meter springboard. And today, she was best, and she was best by far. Let's look at it. Frida Zuniga Guzman wins with the 352.8. But look at Sydney Guidara, the surprise silver medalist out of UNT, the freshman, as youth wins the day. And Jacqueline Fowler comes through with consistency to finish with bronze.
I mean, what a top 3 you have there. Sydney, a freshman, Jacqueline didn't compete last year, comes in, makes the top 8, then gets third. Incredible diving. So much fun to watch tonight.
Frida Zuniga Guzman making a name for herself, as does Gadara. And Zuniga Guzman's incredible performance kind of overshadows Gadara a little bit, but I don't know if it should with her 3:08 as a freshman. And then you've got another medal stand performance as well in the 3-meter for an outstanding performer in Jacqueline Fowler. And SMU showing off their strength in that event. Paige Burrell, by the way, of FIU, who was our gold medal winner on the 1-meter, finishes in 4th. For some more points for FIU, Nicole Stambo in 5th, followed by Alicia Mora, Katie Lipsy, and Ruska Leitonen. Just a lot of fun on the 3-meter springboard this evening.
So much fun. And we talked about it. Even if you're not on the podium in the top 3, all of these women are contributing so many points for their team. So you can see the love from the swim team and the support, because these divers came in and they did their job.
Man, what a night. You know, she qualified really, really well. Qualified in 2nd. And so wasn't out of the realm of possibility that she would be able to take this one. But just what does it take to not only be consistent? I hear you talk about consistency, but then she was spectacular as well. She had at least 3 dives of 60 plus, and she wouldn't have won it without those impressive dives as well.
Oh, for sure. And she was just laser focused. Wouldn't take her eyes off the diving board. Locked and loaded, ready to go. Every dive, deep breath, visualize, trust your muscle memory. And she executed it tonight.
For Florida Internationals, Ruska Leitonen. 7th place for Tulane's Katie Lipsy. 6th place finish for Florida Atlantic's Alicia Mora. 5th place for SMU's Nicole Stambo. 4th place for Florida International's Paige Burrell. And now your top 3 ladies in the Women's 3-meter championship. Bronze medal for SMU's Jacqueline Fowler. Silver for North Texas's Sydney Guidara. And your 2024 champion, setting a new meet record score with 3:52.80. Gold for ECU's Frida Guzman.
Frida Guzman gets her moment in the sun. Sydney Guidara, the silver medalist, and then the 2nd medal of the meet as well for very talented Jacqueline Fowler. Guzman has a long career out in front of her, and she is already claiming a title here in the AAC Championships as a sophomore. And she's standing by with our Natalie Kalibat.
The champion, Frida, wins a new meet record. What does this mean to you?
I'm so happy. I'm so proud of me and my coach. We've been working so hard to this, so that's the reason. I'm so happy.
Coach says your big and fun personality sets the tone for practice. How do you lead your team?
Well, I don't know. I'm just like focused, and I'm just like believe in me, believe in my coach. So that's it.
Platform tomorrow. What's your focus?
Platform tomorrow. Well, I want to be in the top 3, of course. So we're going to.
Frida, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Self-confidence, it's one of the toughest things to teach in sports, in life. But this young lady has it in spades, and she rides those waves to a diving win in the 3-meter championship and helps the ECU Pirates get those points as well as we head into our final swimming event of the night 2 here in Dallas. And the second night has been a lot of fun, and we are ready for the women's 200-yard freestyle relay. And we bring Smacker Miles back into the broadcast, former UT swimmer. What do you love about this event?
First off, I love the leader of the walkout dancing along to the song in here. And the energy in here. I think it's a fun last event of the session. All the 50 freestylers have likely already swam in either the consolation or the final. And this is their time to come together as a team, think less about themselves and more about this being double points and how huge this is for their team.
Now, last year, SMU won this event with a time of 1:30.84. With the time of 1:31.08, I should say. And this year they qualified even better. Rice qualifying in second, but about a second and a half behind. It was a pretty dominant effort in regular season qualifying for SMU. And so as you look at the lane assignments, North Texas will be at the bottom of your screen. Florida Atlantic in lane number 2, Florida International in 3. SMU in the pole position in lane number 4. Rice swimming right next to them. Then East Carolina in the 6th spot. And Tulane in the 7th spot. As we head into our final event of the night, the 200 free relay. The meet record accomplished 10 years ago by SMU, a 1:29.83. Not out of the realm of possibility based on what we've seen from SMU this season. They are the favorite in this event. And we're underway. And for Tulane, it's Victoria Raymond. For East Carolina, Carly Clements. Imogen Mears for Rice. Lucrecia Napolitano for SMU. Deanna Santamaria for Florida International. Izzy Jones for Florida Atlantic. And Noelle Marsh for North Texas. And this is going to go really, really fast. And at the first touch, it is Rice in front of FIU and SMU. The second set, Tulane's Grace Dale, Michaela Durkin from East Carolina, Ariel Hayon from Rice, Johanna Gomans-Daughter from SMU, Jessica Spilko from FIU, Dolores Margini from Florida Atlantic, and North Texas's Emily Alley. On the next turn, SMU has taken the lead. On the third leg, it's Hatapolu from Tulane, Laura Kelberg from East Carolina, Naomi Filkin from Rice, SMU's Valentina Becerra, Umi Diop from FIU, Florida Atlantic's Bri Belial, and Samantha Robles from North Texas. And here comes the anchor leg, with SMU right now out in front, touching the wall in front of Rice and ECU. The final leg, Hendricks for Tulane, Bruning for East Carolina, Bartley for Rice, SMU's Bedoya, Desan for FIU, Earnshaw for Florida Atlantic, and North Texas's McLeod. And SMU still out in front by a good length here. Bedoya coming to the wall, and SMU wins it way out in front of second. The time of 1:29.33, setting a new meet record. The SMU Mustangs, the 200 freestyle relay champions, in a huge, dominant afternoon in Dallas. SMU in first, Rice in second, a full 1.3 seconds behind, and then in third, it's ECU.
Winning the 200 free relay by a full body length is really impressive. It tells you that that is what SMU focuses on. That's what Ozzie is known for. He is a bit of a sprint whisperer. He has post-grads that come from all around the world to train with him. And his body language walking up and pacing the pool with his swimmers was fun to watch. They have a lot of confidence in that event. They know that they have 4 very consistent, very strong sprinters. I'm sure that they focus heavily on relay starts during practice. They didn't flinch. You can always see the relay exchanges. They gave themselves away if they've messed up by their body language coming off the block. So they'll start to flinch or start to retime their arms. And you could see that all 3 SMU exchanges were very confident, very similar technically, and fast as well.
Now, nothing official yet, but we are unofficially expecting SMU to have a record time. And while they celebrate, we wait on those official numbers. Ozzy Quevedo said that, he's proud of his team, but he feels like it's kind of a rebuilding mode, like SMU has another place to take it to. And when you beat a record that has stood for 10 years, it's kind of like throwing it back to the good old days a little bit for Coach Quevedo.
Coach Quevedo talked about having his swimmers be athletic, be athletes. He wants them to be athletes in dry land, in the weight room, coming off the blocks and on the walls. And when a coach says that they want their team to be athletic outside the pool, that means that they are focusing on sprinters. And sprinters are the ones that do that well. They have the stature, they have the height, they have the athleticism in the weight room, and it pays off in the sprints.
So unofficially, SMU has won this. But it is unofficial as we are waiting on the judges to confirm what has occurred here. The final number for SMU is 129.33. Final number for Rice was 130.64, and the final number for ECU was 130.81. But we have disqualifications for SMU and for Rice. SMU has been disqualified for their 4th swimmer. Rice has been disqualified for their 4th swimmer. The champion is ECU, and the time will not count.
Whoever did it with confidence.
And they did it right next to each other as well. Can that happen, when you know those were the top 2 teams there at the end, SMU and Rice, they're right next to each other. Can you be influenced into a disqualifying start there?
You're not to tie the person. There should be a visual lapse, and it's of course going to be a fingernail visual lapse, but it's a costly mistake, and it's a costly mistake and structured that way for a reason. So they'll have to look at where it happened and go back to the relay starts and focus on that between sessions tomorrow before the next relays.
Triumph turns to dismay for SMU, and defeat turns to victory for East Carolina. ECU just took the 3mm diving, and now they are the surprise winner in the 200 relay. The 200 free relay, and just absolute disbelief on the faces of the East Carolina Pirates.
That's why you keep fighting.
And over to the awards and staging area. ECU, Florida International, Florida Atlantic.
When it looks like someone's taken it already, you still got to go for it, because you never know what's happened on other legs or out of your sight.
And there you heard it. Those will be your podium standers in ECU and FIU and Florida Atlantic.
I was just about to say sprinters have more fun. SMU looked like they were having so much fun. I was sitting over here watching them just envious, and then you saw the announcement and was just like, just quiet came over the pool.
What a turnaround for Matthew Jabs, though. Remember, just a few years after his program, men's and women's were shut down due to COVID. And the Pirates have had good swimming programs over the years. The women's team comes back, and he is still definitely in a rebuilding process. Doesn't really even have enough swimmers right now to score the maximum amount of points allotted here. but the Pirates snatch one in the 200 free relay.
So cool to come here without a full roster and a full scoring team and just show who you are, even if it is in small numbers. And this will help them recruit. It will prove that they have a strong team culture and that they're getting better. And that's why you put in the work, and that's why you work on safe starts, but you also work on just focusing on the things that you can control, because you never know what the team next to you has done. Night for each.
And it's very, very big for FIU as well, with SMU getting no points.
It's a bronze medal with a finals time of 1:32.30 for Florida Atlantic. With a final time 1:31.42. Silver for Florida International. And with a final time of 1:30.81, your 2024 champions, Carly Clements, Michaela Durkin, Laura Kelberg, and Heidi Bruning. Gold for ECU.
Sweet, sweet victory for the Pirates of East Carolina. Taking the 40 points from this victory, Carly Clements, a freshman, Michaela Durkin, another freshman, Laura Kelberg, a junior, and Heidi Bruning, the sophomore, on the anchor leg. They are so young. FIU in second, Florida Atlantic in third. What does that feel like? You put in a great effort. On the other side that SMU put up a record-setting performance that is not ever going to go in the record books. For ECU, how much confidence does this give them, though?
ECU as a young team, they have so much to be proud of in that race. A strong sprint core that can continue to get better and stronger as they're in the weight room for more years and recruit around them as well. So an unbelievable night for the Pirates. But there is something a little bit bittersweet about not actually touching the wall first. And that's not out of their control. It's absolutely a DQ is a DQ. And if, that time swing would have made the difference, then that's all you need to know. But if the time swing wouldn't have made the difference is where it gets a little bit iffy.
So SMU and Rice both DQ'd, much to the delight of the ECU Pirates, who are standing by with Natalie.
So Frida wins the diving, then you guys turn it around and win the relay. Did you plan that?
I mean, before the race, I said, let's pull a Frida, and I guess we kind of did. So
Perfectly executed. No pun intended, right, with the diving. Perfectly executed. You guys win. This is tremendous points for your team. What does this win mean to you all?
I think it means a lot. I don't think any of us really expected this, but we're all just so happy.
We've been working a lot building this team from bottom all the way up, so this means a lot to all of us.
I just think it's really cool.
So much swimming left these next 2 days. What is the focus and the message from Coach?
Honestly, he's just telling us to have fun, swim our best. We've been working towards this all season, so, we know what we got to do, and we just do it.
Yeah, we'll take what we can get.
You got a good one tonight.
Yes. I'm very excited.
Congratulations and best of luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the East Carolina Pirates, overjoyed by their 200 relay win. When we come back, we will update the team rankings halfway home in the American Athletic Conference Swimming and Diving Championships. Welcome back into Dallas and day 2 of the American Athletic Conference Women's Swimming and Diving Championships in the books, with Florida International on top by 40.5 points over SMU. If SMU would have not gotten DQ'd, they would be in the lead right now, however. Rice in third. East Carolina gets the huge bump thanks to their win in the 200 free relay, followed by North Texas, Florida Atlantic, and Tulane.
SMU is good in each event, and they have a lot of finalists. That relay was costly. Rice, of course, already DQ'd a relay. So right now the top three is FIU and then two teams that have had relay DQs that could have really put them up there with FIU.
Great point, Smacker. What could happen tomorrow? We've got a big day of swimming.
400 IM, 100 fly, 2 free, 100 breast, 100 back, platform diving, and the 400 medley relay. It's the hundreds of stroke day and the 400 IM, a little bit of a mix of everything.
Lots of points up for grabs on day 3, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, and you can find it right here on ESPN+. So, Smacker, going into that day, we will see you tomorrow. So for Smacker Miles, Natalie Kalibat, and our entire ESPN crew, this is John Liddle saying so long from Dallas. The AAC Swimming and Diving Championships continue tomorrow. Prelims start at 11:30 Eastern Time right here on ESPN+. This has been a presentation of the American Athletic Conference and ESPN.